Citizens speak out. People continue to speak out in the name of safety, human rights, and basic freedoms as they gather in countries like Brazil, Czech Republic, Egypt, Libya, Mexico, Palestine, Syria, Yemen, and the U.S.
Czech Republic. Czech transportation workers held a one-day strike on Wednesday in protest of proposed government economic reforms intended to avoid future budget shortfalls, which would include increasing the value-added tax, raising retirement age, and other changes to the national welfare and healthcare systems.
Egypt. 5 months after former President Hosni Mubarak imposed a curfew as a way to quell the nation's protests, Egypt's military rulers officially lifted it on Wednesday, June 15th.
Brazil. Obede Souza, an activist who brought to light illegal logging practices in the Amazon, was found perished of gunshot wounds outside his home, making his the 5th death in the past month due to conflict over land use in the rainforest.
Libya. According to a Tunisian army official, the number of Libyan civilians and troops, including senior officers, who are fleeing the conflict into Tunisia has once again increased. From Monday to Tuesday alone, over 6,300 Libyans arrived in Tunisia.
U.S. In response to a resolution by the U.S. House of Representatives stating that President Barack Obama should have sought Congress permission before taking military action in Libya, the White House issued a report Wednesday stating that no such approval is needed for the mission to continue. The report further calculated that U.S. war costs in Libya as of June 3rd were $700 million and that total costs through September will be $1.1 billion.
Yemen. On Wednesday, tens of thousands of Yemeni citizens rallied in the capital Sana'a and many other cities, including Taiz, Dale, Baida, and Hadramaut, continuing their peaceful demands for the transition to a new government and for the current regime to be held accountable for violence against citizens. They also rejected a mediation offer from the Gulf Cooperation Council, or GCC, saying that President Ali Abdullah Saleh, who is currently recovering from injuries in Saudi Arabia, had already backed out of 3 previous GCC-mediated agreements. Activist delegates also met on Wednesday with the country's acting head, Vice President Abdul Rabu Mansur Hadi, where they asked for the immediate formation of an interim presidential council. The meeting participants later reported that the vice president had requested a period of 2 weeks to be able to prepare for the next steps in the transition.
Syria. Nearly 9,000 Syrian refugees have now crossed the border into Turkey as they continue to flee the brutal crackdown of their government. In a press conference on Wednesday, Turkish Foreign Minister Ahmet Davutoglu stated, "Turkey will never refrain from any help for Syria." He went on to say that the government had also decided to provide humanitarian help to those Syrians who have escaped the violence but are now gathered near the border in barely survivable conditions.
As we mourn the lives lost and are saddened by the plight of those who suffer injury and fear, we pray for the conflicts in all nations to cease, with people everywhere choosing to live side by side in sovereign dignity, freedom, and peace.